Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Wealth Twin Show. Today we're talking about unfiltered advice for someone who wants financial freedom. So, Nicole, what's a piece of advice you would get to someone who's looking to reach financial freedom?
Oh, there's more than one piece of advice I want to give today, especially today if we're talking about financial
True.
freedom. If I was to say the first piece of advice I would give is that you have to get your mind right. Your head has to be in this game because seeking financial freedom is not for the weak and it's not for those that think they're going to play around and get it done. Okay? Because it's a commitment you have to make to yourself, and it's going to be something that people will not be seeing on the outside until it's done. Okay, so this is a journey that you have to take, and you're going to be most likely taking it without that much support from people around you. So you have to get your mind right for that. And two ways you can do that to start it off, you're either going to have to go through and focus on either the pain or the pleasure that you will receive if you when you become financially free. Either the pain you're escaping, so that's what's pushing you towards financial freedom, or the pleasure you will get when you actually get to financial freedom. Those things are going to help you because sometimes the journey could be a lonely one if you don't have people supporting you in your corner. Do you agree with that, Nadia?
I agree. I think like it's a phrase. If you want the life that no one has, you have to do some of the things no one has done, right? And when it comes to financial freedom, you can't follow the traditional path of what people do, especially when it comes to handling their money. Financial freedom is great, but if you have to understand the sacrifices you need to make in order to reach that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, "Oh, it's so easy to do." You will have a couple of years that it will be difficult because you have to change certain habits that you already have developed and change into new habits in order to change your financial trajectory, right? So that may mean that you have to start saving more. Maybe you have to start cutting back. Maybe you have to, and I'm not saying you have to do this for a long time, but it is a certain period of time you have to do. Now, if you want and start making more money and filtering that, funneling that money to different avenues so that it will create financial freedom for you, you'll have to do that. But my main point is it requires changes on your side in order to reach financial freedom. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen without some sort of kind of sacrifice. And that's what Nicole was saying. So you have to make sure your mind is right going into this. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So that's what I'm saying. And what Nicole is saying is that you have to be strong of mind and you have to understand there are some sacrifices you're going to have to make, especially in the beginning, if you want to reach financial freedom.
Now, you bring up some habits, right? And you were saying something. So there's two habits that you need to pick up when you're actually going for financial freedom. One
Okay.
is being disciplined, and the other one would be delaying gratification. Now, if I
Now,
was to say
no
that
one wants to hear that in this
nobody
day and
wants to hear.
age, but it
Yeah.
is true. You're talking to two people who have done it. You have to do this.
Now, you have to delay gratification. That is probably the biggest thing when it comes to anything when you want to be successful with it, right? If you have something where the goal is going to be far off and the results are going to be a transformation, then you have to be able to delay gratification. This goes with when it comes to losing weight, right? This goes with and gaining muscle. This goes with getting an education. This goes with becoming financially free. Even if you don't get to financial freedom, just seeing your money stack will be a process that takes a while. So you have to be able to delay the gratification. Now, on top of that, on top of the habits that you have to pick up, you also have to have a plan. This is not something you can do haphazardly, okay? You need to learn how to start monitoring certain things and measuring certain things so that you can monitor them. Because if not, if you don't know where you're starting, then you don't know where you can go. So there's 2 points you have to know. One, where are you starting? Right? This is your net worth. This is what you should be calculating in the first thing when it comes to what is my plan and how do I need to get to where I want to be. The next number you need to figure out was what is your financial freedom number, right? So you have to know those 2 points, and then you have to make a plan to get you from point A to point B. So with that, if we're talking about net worth, then that's about income or assets versus liabilities. That's what that is. Okay. So you have to focus on things that bring you in money versus the things that are taking money away from you. That's how you start that. Then when it comes to financial freedom, again, that goes back into income that you want, right? Which is the assets that are going to bring you in money versus the things that are going to take out money. Both of those numbers require those inputs in order to understand exactly where you are and where you need to be.
Thinking about what you said, I think one of the pieces of advice that I would give someone when it comes to reaching financial freedom and unfiltered is that you have to be real with yourself. Okay.
Mm.
Nicole was saying you have to understand your net worth. If you are really serious about reaching financial freedom, you have to understand what's your actual starting point. If you owe a lot of money in terms of loans, in terms of debt, it's going to take you longer to reach financial freedom because you'll never be financially free if you have to pay other people money on a consistent basis and you're always running behind that, right? The thing is, anyone can be financially free, but there's different levels, right? Maybe if you're starting later in life or maybe you're starting with a lot of debt, you can have more freedom financially, but you may not reach financial freedom in the time frame that you want to do, but you will be in a better place. But if you're really serious about reaching financial freedom, you have to take a cold hard look at what you're doing now and what financial freedom actually means to you and what you're going to do to reach that. I get a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to be financially free," and they're looking for a timeline of a year. Unless you're willing to really sacrifice and do what you need to do within that year, it's probably not possible and you're setting yourself up for failure. If you're really looking for financial freedom, be real with yourself. Look at your current financial state. Give yourself a wide enough time frame in order to actually meet financial freedom or reach financial freedom. And if you say, you know what, that time frame may be too long, what can I do to give myself more freedom financially? And I think if people look at it that way and actually real with themselves, they'll be a lot happier in the progress they're making towards financial freedom, even if they don't meet it. And there won't be under some illusion like, oh, it's going to happen in this amount of time. Like
Uh,
you're looking to do it within three
I'm gonna
months, a
play
year.
devil's advocate. I'm gonna play
Okay,
devil's advocate here,
go
right?
ahead.
Because this is just math. Okay,
It is just math. But if you're
now
so far
with
in the
that,
hole,
no,
don't
no,
look at me
let
and
me
say
get
you
it.
want to do it in a year without making
No, no, no,
sacrifices.
not true.
Okay,
It's
go
you
ahead.
can because it's math, right? There's a top number and there's a bottom number, right? You
Okay,
can do addition or you can do subtraction. Nadia
true.
is focusing on the subtraction part of this, which is the sacrifices,
Well,
cutting your expenses, cutting your debt.
that's
There's another way
initially,
to
and
do this.
I think initially, that's where you'll get the biggest bang for your buck. So go ahead.
Oh, you can also do it by increasing your income, okay?
True.
But this is what people will tell you. Everyone wants to look to how can I increase my income? How can I increase my income? But if you don't develop the discipline to at least keep your liabilities the same or lower them, it does not matter how much you increase your income. When it comes to increasing the income, if you want to hit financial freedom faster, then you got to do it with multiple ways. That's the way you it can't be, well, you can do it in one way, but you have to focus on really increasing that income. But here's a caveat: you should always focus on how to keep the income as well. Because as rich as you can get, as quick as you can get it, you can lose it. And I think a lot of times people are selling you, oh, here, let's make a bunch of money, but they're not really telling you the risks that are involved with something that can get that much money that quickly. And if you really want financial freedom and not something that's going to be overnight and then taken away overnight, then you have to understand the risk involved or how much you can lose that money. And this is what's upsetting with me to me when I see a lot of people promoting financial freedom, but not really talking about what can happen on the risk side. And you have to be able to protect yourself. And one way to protect yourself that you can control is the amount of risk you take, and the amount of income you need to make does not need to be as high to get to that number if you don't want to go as fast, or if you lower your liabilities, which Nadia is saying. If you lower your liabilities, your financial freedom number will become smaller and easier to hit. Okay, so that's where I wanted to go with this one.
Well, let me clarify. When it comes to sacrificing, you can't do it for a long time because you're not going to stick with it. So when I'm talking about sacrificing and nailing stuff down and really trying to like dial it in, that's going to happen for, let's say, no more than 6 months. If you can do that, you'll put yourself in a much better position if you can do that for 6 months because one point you're going to develop the habits is going to become a lot easier. Two, you're more likely to stick with it because it's not something you're doing for a long term. But going back to my earlier point, anybody can reach financial freedom. It's all about what that definition is to you and how much you're willing to, again, sacrifice in order to meet it. So, for example, let's say you're looking to reach financial freedom. I don't know why I keep saying meet. Let's say you're looking to reach financial freedom, but you're living in a high cost of living city, right? But you say, you know what? Living in a high cost of living city is not as much of a priority for me as is me getting to financial freedom. So you'll be willing to move. That's a sacrifice that may not require much of you. It's just a perspective change or a shift in mindset. I don't need to live in this high cost of living area. I can live somewhere that costs less money to live and it will allow me to hit that goal a lot faster. My thing is, when it comes to sacrifice, don't think of it only in financial terms. Think of it, what are some standards that I set for myself that maybe don't hold true anymore? That if I let go of them, I can actually hit this number a lot quicker than I initially thought.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying, like we're very much creatures of habit, right? And when you're a creature of habit and you're just doing things because you've always done them, sometimes it is a good idea to sit back and say, what am I doing that's not actually serving me?
Hmm.
Or what am I doing that if I was to stop it, I can reach my goals faster? So this is where the whole saying is you have to maybe step outside your comfort zone, right? Because if you're too comfortable where you are, you're not going to hit financial freedom, right? You got to do something that you haven't done before, like Nadia said, in order to get what you haven't gotten before. Stepping outside your comfort zone might mean changing the location where you live. It might mean learning new skills in order to get a job that's going to pay you more money. It might mean stopping some relationships with some friends and some significant others that are taking money out your pocket that you're not able to say no to. It might be you being able to say no. Some of those things have to happen in order for you to reach your goals. And that's going to take you out your comfort zone. But again, this goes back to my original point. You have to have something that you're going to focus on that's going to allow you to be motivated enough to get past those little discomforts to have you really reach what you need to do, actually do what you need to do. So you either focus on the pain or you focus on the pleasure, but you have to do something. It's like I'm just talking about this. Like when I was like really focusing on getting my money right, and I was at the same time trying to lose weight, which I'm still in this process too in terms of losing weight, but you'll see that later. But anyway, I would like say different names in my head, I would write down, different things because I knew this was helping to motivate me. So those little tricks could help you. But again, it has to come from within and it has to be something that you're willing to stick to. I think that's where I'm going with that. So you
I'm
have to get
laughing.
outside your comfort zone.
I'm laughing because you said you had a list of names, and that made me think of the girl from Game of Thrones. I know you never seen that, but it's
I've never
actually
watched Game of Thrones.
she
That's
had a
one of
list
the
of
things
people.
that took me out of my comfort zone. I stopped watching television.
Yeah, it's true. I will also say when you bring up motivation, one of the motivations that I had that outweighed a lot of things was the lack of motivation I had going into the office on a daily basis and commuting, right? When I go back and visit friends who are in the office setting, I get like a reaction like, oh my God, I don't even want to wait at this elevator bank to go upstairs to visit them. I don't want to walk past this cafeteria. It just brings up so many strong feelings for me that I feel that I made a good choice retiring at the age that I did because I knew that is not what I wanted to do with my life. And I that was an easy motivator for me to start putting in the work for me to become financially free, right? So motivation doesn't have to be people. It could be a feeling that you get commuting every day, being in a place that you feel like you just don't belong there, like it's sucking your soul out. It's different motivators. And what that will allow you to do is prioritize your actions over the actions that are going to take you further away from your goal to free you from whatever is making you feel like, you know what, I need to get away from this and I need to become financially free. For me, that was little things like commuting into the office, waiting at the elevator bank, listening to meetings that I knew were just not for me. And I said, I can't do this another day. Okay, if I'm going to do that, what is the plan I can put in place to escape this as quickly as possible? For me, that was saving 75% of my paycheck. And unlike most people think, I didn't have a pension. Wish I did. Would have made it a lot easier. But
Okay,
I saved 75% of my paycheck and then I tried to invest as much as I could and I lived below my means and I only had to do that for maybe a year, year and a half, 2 years. And that set me up to be a lot more financially free than most people and it made it a lot easier for me to walk away from the office.
there's a couple of things I want to bring up. One, I don't like to use the word retired because financial freedom to me does not necessarily correlate with retirement.
That's
It's
true. I don't want people to think I'm sitting on the couch all day and do whatever. Like, no, that's true.
it means you're doing what you want to do without relying on a paycheck from an employer
Yes.
that you need. Okay, so that's let's just get a little simple definition. So when you're able to do what you want to do and live your life, then yes, you're going to be financially free as long as you're paying your
And you
bills yourself.
and you're getting money from other sources outside of an employer. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. And two, it would be your idea of saving, right? But you're not saving just for saving purposes only, right? Because this was another piece of advice, and you kind of hinted at it. You have to save money, but then you have to invest that money. This ain't going to happen for a very long time if you're just saving. You have to have a very high income and very low expense if you're going to try to do this just on saving alone. You have to make investing part of the journey. Now, it can be investing in real estate, it can be investing in businesses, it can be investing in stock market, it can be investing in all three, right? Which is what Nadia and I do. But you have to invest. And that's something that might take you out your comfort zone. But that is something you need to do if you really are trying to reach financial freedom.
I agree. Like, everybody's going around now saying, you can't save yourself to being a millionaire. You know what? You can't, or you can. It'll take you a lot longer. But the habits that you build with learning how to save your money and then having a purpose for that money, that is what's going to make you a millionaire. And it's going to be a lot easier process than it would be if you did not develop the habit of saving your money and putting it. So don't listen to people say, oh, you can't save your. No, that's part of it. No one saves their way to $1 million because one, it's not insured in your bank account. You're going to have 5 bank accounts or 4 bank accounts at least to put $1 million in. But you're using that money so that you're able to take advantage of opportunities that come your way. Now, those opportunities could be investing opportunities, it could be venture capitalist opportunities, it could be opportunities. But what you're doing is not making money the issue when it comes to taking advantage of those opportunities. That saving of your money is what helps you do that.
I want to go back to investing too.
Okay.
The way we invest is also a way to save our money. It saves
Mhm.
our money and also grows our money,
I
right?
agree.
Because we're not doing trading. We're not trying to hit the home run that's also going to allow us maybe on the other end to lose our money. Okay. So the way that we invest is a way to not only save money, but also grow our money because we're trying to protect our principal. We're not taking our eye off the ball with that because it took a long time to save money, right? So it's not something you should willy nilly try to throw away by taking such big gambles in the market. We're not gambling here, right? So, but you do have to invest, and investing is the key word. You have to invest in something and something that's going to bring you money coming in, especially if you want to leave a job that you depend on now for your only source of income. So I want to say this to people because I know there's a lot of people that watch us that really are afraid to invest, and one of the reasons why is because maybe they get overwhelmed with the terminology and maybe they just don't know where to start. And for me, I think the best place to start is just like as if you would starting to learn a new language, because that's what investing is. It's a new language. And the first place to start when it comes to investing would be understanding the most important terms you need to know so that you can get your footing and at least know, okay, at least if I understand this term, I'm a little bit ahead of where I was a day before, right? And then you can start taking it from there. So for anybody who finds themselves in that position and they're just like scared to start because they don't understand the terms and the terms are overwhelming, I'm going to put in description a link to a free download where we're going to give you the 25 must know terms when it comes to the stock market. So just look in a link in the description and you can download that for totally free.
If this is about unfiltered advice, I think we need to speak to people about the timeline they should be thinking about when it comes to reaching financial freedom. Because I think if someone promised you financial freedom and they say, oh, you could do this within 30 days or 60 days, it's a scam. You have to understand the faster the money comes, the quicker the money is going to leave you, right? So if I was going to give you unfiltered advice, I would say if you're looking for financial freedom, depending on your personal situation and depending on what financial freedom means to you, I'd say that timeline should be 5 to 10 years, right? And when I think financial freedom, I kind of interchange it with financial independence. It's 5 to 10 years. You could make a lot of moves in 5 to 10 years that you'll be light years away from where you are currently. And I think if you wrap your mind around that, you won't feel so bad of like if you didn't see much movement within a year. If you look at a 5 to 10 year basis, then you're like, whoa, look how far I came in those amount of years. And I will tell you now, 10 years seems like a long time, but 10 years will go by in a blink of an eye. I have an 11-year-old child. I don't know where she turned 11, but that seems so fast. 10 years are going to go by whether you're trying to save money or reach financial freedom or not. So you might as well put that time to good use because it's going to pass anyway and try to reach financial freedom. Even if you fall short during those years, I guarantee you, you'll be a lot happier than you were 10 years prior.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just about to say the same thing. I said, if Nadia doesn't say this, I'm gonna say it.
I got you.
5 to 10 years is gonna be going. It's gonna happen regardless if we're all lucky, right? Because we can't predict the future.
True.
But 5 and 10 years is gonna happen regardless if you choose to shoot for financial freedom or not. You already spent how long not doing it? How long delaying it?
Yep.
But if you were to pursue it, how far could you get? So just trying will make your life better off if that's your goal. And that's something in looking at the timeline, it's a very short timeline in the whole scheme of things. All right. But doing it in this way, we believe is a better way to do it because it gives you the better chance to actually not only reaching it, but also keeping it. And that's the
It's
main thing.
sustainable. It's sustainable. And it's not going to be something that you're going to feel like it's unattainable. And it's not something you're going to feel like you're miserable the whole time pursuing it.
And also, you have to enjoy the journey itself, right? Because anytime it's like this is not a binary, right? It's not either you're not financially free and you are. There's so many stops along the journey that
Yep.
as you're pursuing financial freedom, your financial life and just your life in general, in terms of health, in terms of like relationships, in terms of knowledge, everything is
And
just
lack of
going to
stress,
increase.
the lack of
Yeah,
stress, the
yeah, you're
limit,
gonna get better night's sleep.
lower
You're gonna
fear.
have more choices. Those things are something that should not be taken for granted. And it should be something that you should be looking forward to. So don't just look at the end, look at the
Yep.
journey on top of that.
Yep.
Now, I want to bring up something else when, if we're really talking about unfiltered advice for someone who's seeking financial freedom, it's not just about the money, right? So, this is what I was hinting on just now. You can't just only think about the money either. You got to think about, in regards to money, you got to think about taxes, right? You got to think about healthcare. You got to think about what your lifestyle is going to be. You got to think about where you want to live and how you want to look, and also what you want to do during that time. I think those things are not frequently talked about because there's a lot of people that reach financial freedom and become very depressed because they have no idea what they want to do. They have no idea once they hit that goal, what do they do now, right? That's a lot of times that happens with shooting for a big goal and actually hitting it. People get depressed because they go, what do I do now? Because they don't have a plan for after the fact. So if anybody's seeking financial freedom, I think one of the best things you can do is really plan for what do you do once you hit it. Okay, you have to think long term. What am I going to do with healthcare? What do I want to do on a day to day basis? Those things are something you have to think about when you're doing this.
I agree. And if you're going along that lines, I think you also need to understand when it's time to let your foot off the brake a bit, right? I have this problem too. I don't need to be as, let's say, frugal as I was in the past, but sometimes like I'm a little too frugal, and it's hard for me to break out of that habit and like just I'm working through that now to start spending a little more because like you can't take it with you, but you can enjoy it along the way too. So that's one of the balances I'm working out now. So that's just something if you're looking for an unfiltered advice, once you reach financial freedom, there's some other issues you will have to come across. One is figuring out what you're going to do with your day, and two is what are you going to do with the money that you did accumulate because it's meant to be spent and it's meant to do good with it. It's meant to do other things with it than just having it sitting around. So that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out now is okay, I'm in a good position. Let's start spending it on certain things to improve the quality of your life too and the
Well,
quality
I
of
mean,
others'
Nadia, if
lives.
you have any problem knowing where to spend your money, you can spend it on me.
No,
I
not at
like
all. That's one place I know won't be putting it.
Well, anyway, I think we did a good one today. I hope you guys really appreciate this episode. And please let us know your thoughts. Why are you trying to reach financial freedom? What is it that you think might be your biggest sticking point? We would love to hear that down in the
Yep.
comments below. And with that, if you enjoyed the video, please like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you care about, okay? And with that, I say, Nadia, we'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you in the next episode.